Hey guys, what's going on? This is Kurt Stubbs, usually from the Ohio High School Hoops Around the State podcast. Just wanted to give you guys a little sneak peek into a side project I've been working on. Those of you that know me know that from about the second week of August till early December, um, big high school football guy. Uh, it's not something I do like for writing or anything like that. Just really enjoy the sport. Helps that the school that I work for happens to be a very, very good football program, both sides of town. But a little project I've been working on here, looking at the decade 2010 to 2019 Pickerington Central football. You can see they're titled Decade of Dominance. And I think when you take a look at some of these numbers, they're really staggering. Let's see here. So inside the numbers, um, two undefeated regular seasons, 2010 and 2014. I thought that 2010 team was really, really good. I thought they had a chance to maybe at least get to a title game. They got what I would say upset in the regional final up at Upper Arlington against a good Hilliard-Davidson team, but I thought Central was the better team. And then in 2014, they were undefeated again and lost to Moeller in the second round down at Dayton Welcome Stadium. But undefeated season is not a big deal when you're playing the type of schedule that they're playing. 9 OCC titles, or a share of them. The only year was 2018. They did not share the title that year, and that was a tough season. Really tough loss to Lancaster in a game they led by a couple of touchdowns late in that game. Just some crazy stuff happened. Reynoldsburg was another game. It was wet, rainy, fumble here and there. Kind of cost them that game, but that was the only year that they didn't win a share of the OCC title. Was 2018. All 10 years, playoff appearances, 5 regional championships, 2011, 16, 17, 18, and 19, so 4 straight state semifinal appearances. The runner-up in 2011, that was a great team. Coming off that 2010 season, lost a lot of seniors off that 2010 season. Some really talented guys. Eiler Hardy comes to mind. But they came back with a really strong junior class and started the season that year. It's kind of crazy. They were 0-2. They lost to Moeller, and then they lost at Ohio Stadium against St. X. But the cool thing about that season was they got to avenge that loss in the state semifinals against Cincinnati St. X that year. Almost a perfectly executed game plan that night to get them into the finals, where they would end up losing to St. Ignatius. Really tough game up at Fawcett Stadium there. Jacoby Bourne was playing on one wheel. Roger Lewis was playing on one wheel. So they were kind of beat down when they got into that game, but Ignatius was really, really good, deep, as you can imagine. So that was a tough night. Then the 2 state championships, 2017 and 2019. 2017 will always be special, being it was the first one. It was an interesting road that year. It started off against Northmont at home. They ended up beating Pickerington North, really strong Pickerington North team led by Jimmy Wyrick in the regional final. Then they beat Colerain, who's been kind of a thorn in their side. Colerain's beat them once in the regular season and then twice in the playoffs, so they finally got them to get over the hump, and then they ended up running away with that against Mentor in 2017. And then last year, I thought, they brought back Crenshaw, who is, just an unbelievable high school player. winner. I mean, just all the intangibles. And I thought they were a little ahead of schedule, to be honest with you. But they ended up losing one game and got the job done. Beat Elder there in the state finals. Great game in the semis against Menor. Most wins in a row, 18, 2017, 2018, 18 in a row. Most wins in a season were the 2 state championship years. You can see what they've done against the OCC Ohio. Gahanna, Lincoln, and Grove City, 10-0. Groveport Madison, 9-1. Groveport Madison, only team that beat them this past season. They were able to avenge that loss in the regional finals. Lancaster, always been a tough out. 8-2 against Lancaster. Both those losses down there. Interesting, the year they won the state championship in 2017, Lancaster missed an extra point in that game. They ended up winning that game 14-13, so that was a really close game that year as well. Newark, they stopped playing, which will be back on the schedule again with the conference realignment, but they were 6-0 in the decade against them, and then 9-1 against Reynoldsburg in the regular season. They did play Reynoldsburg in the playoffs last year. They also played Groveport in the playoffs last year, and they played Gahanna Lincoln in the playoffs before as well. So pretty dominant in the regular season. 37, what is that? 52-4 against those teams there. So out-of-state opponents in the decade, 12-0. Some good teams there. Cass Tech comes to mind. Goose Creek game down at Centerville, man, they had a lot of goal line stands in that game. Incredible defense there that year in 2014. Big win over Cathedral, 2017. Oscar Smith was a nice win in 2010. Wendell Phillips, a game on ESPN there in 2018. And then they went down and played outside of Atlanta this past year in the opener against Winter Park. So that was a nice win, and 3-0 against the Canadian teams. Overall numbers, wow, 107-21, 84 winning percentage. Playoff record, this is the one that jumps out to me, 24-8 in the playoffs, 75% winning percentage. They have a record at home in the ditch there, 47-3, quite credible. 94% winning, 41-2 in the regular season, 6-1 in the playoffs. The only 3 teams to beat them in the decade were Pickerington North beat them at home, and then they also beat them in the playoffs that year. That was a loaded Pickerington North team with Jake Butt and Godwin Igwebukwe. That team, man, they could have really easily been in the state finals. Tough break there against Moeller. Got stopped at the goal line. Also Trotwood beat them in 2017, the year they won the state. Trotwood also won the state that year, going 15-0. And then 2015 was the other loss at home, first round playoff game against Upper Arlington. A good thing about that game was the sophomores that year, Xavier Henderson, Gillison, those guys all got valuable playing time, and eventually was the first team that, as seniors, got it done with the state championship. But I thought that these numbers were just quite staggering from this past decade. I want to thank Joe Idle, obviously, a great high school football site in Ohio, and also Pickerington Central football site for some information that I got from there. But this is a little side project that I've been working on. So there's more to come. Got a huge spreadsheet from the decade. So hopefully you enjoyed this. And if you want that spreadsheet, just email me and I'll shoot that out to you.